the first episode of The Sword of the Demon Hunter, Kijin Gentoushou immediately thrusts us into a world of duty, destiny, and sorrow, where personal desires are weighed against the demands of fate. This is not just a simple tale of swords and demons. It is a deeply woven narrative of human emotions, societal obligations, and supernatural forces at play at its core. The episode explores the conflict between free will and predestination, told through the lens of its protagonists. The historical setting, steeped in traditions, further strengthens the weight of their struggles. From the outset, the episode presents a setting built around a battlefield, a world where life is dictated by the chaos of war. The city is not just a home for the people, but a fortress standing against destruction. The battlefield imagery serves as a metaphor for the internal battles the characters face. War is not only physical but also psychological and emotional. The burdens of duty weigh heavier than the sword. The destruction left in the wake of battle symbolizes the inevitable cost of fate and power. The tragic undertones are apparent early on. When a character laments, "I'm sorry, I couldn't save you," we see the burden of loss that will carry through the episode. The second part of the episode, the struggle between duty and desire, is where the sword of the demon hunter, Kijin Gentoushou, elevates itself from a simple tale of supernatural conflict into a tragedy woven from the cruel threads of obligation, love, and betrayal. It is here that Shiryuki, caught between the rigid expectations of her role as the Itsuki princess and the raw, undeniable pull of her heart toward Ginta, makes her choice. But this is not a moment of empowerment. Rather, it is a moment of submission, an acceptance of a fate that was never truly hers to decide. Shiryuki's decision to embrace duty over love is not painted as an act of heroism, nor is it framed as the right choice. Instead, the narrative lingers on the cost. It forces us to sit in the quiet devastation of it, to watch as she extinguishes the only thing that made her feel truly alive. This is not the self-sacrifice of a warrior on the battlefield, nor the noble martyrdom of a figure who gives everything for the greater good. This is a woman surrendering to a cage she was born into, not because she wants to, but because she feels she must. And yet, while Shiryuki's pain is subtle, almost elegant in its quiet suffering, it is Suzun who embodies the unfiltered, primal reaction to such a loss. If Shiryuki is the embodiment of restraint, Suzun is the opposite. She is the fire of grief, the chaos of a love shattered by something as intangible as tradition. Her rage is not simply anger. It is the fury of a child who has been forced to understand the world too soon, the heartbreak of someone who cannot comprehend why duty must outweigh happiness. It is a visceral, all-consuming storm that cannot be reasoned with, because in Suzun's mind, what has been done is not merely a personal betrayal. It is an act of senseless cruelty inflicted upon the one person she cherishes above all else. This contrast between Shiryuki and Suzun is what makes the struggle between duty and desire so compelling. Shiryuki embodies the weight of tradition, the quiet suffering of those bound by expectation. Suzun, on the other hand, represents the raw, unfiltered response to such oppression, the rage of someone who refuses to accept it, who would rather burn everything to the ground than let it take what she loves. The tragedy is that they are both victims of the same system, yet they are placed in direct opposition to one another. Ginta, caught between these two forces, is the tragic center of it all. Unlike Shiryuki, he never believed love and duty were mutually exclusive. Unlike Suzun, he never let his emotions consume him. But what is so cruel about his role in this conflict is that, despite all his strength, despite all his resolve, he is powerless in the face of the decision Shiryuki makes. And when she is taken from him, when he is left holding her lifeless body, only to realize the person responsible is his own beloved sister, the very foundation of his world collapses. The sword of the demon hunter refuses to provide easy resolutions, and that is what makes this segment so haunting. There is no villain, no clear hero, only victims of a fate that was sealed long before they had the power to fight it. Suzun believes she has done the right thing. Ginta cannot forgive her. Shiryuki, the one they both loved in their own way, is gone. And in the end, no one wins. This is not simply a story about demons or warriors. It is a story about the cruel weight of obligation, the unbearable tension between what the heart wants and what the world demands, and the destruction left behind when those two forces collide. The weight of tradition is an unbearable thing. It is silent, invisible, yet heavy enough to crush hearts, to twist fates, to turn love into sorrow. Shiryuki, the embodiment of grace and duty, made her choice, not for herself, not for love, but for the unyielding burden of the Itsuki princess. She turned away from Ginta, the man who had given her warmth, and embraced the cold embrace of obligation. In that moment, her heart did not break. It simply ceased to be hers. What she did not see, what she could not have foreseen, was the quiet storm brewing behind her. Suzun, Ginta's younger sister, had adored him beyond measure. She had watched his love for Shiryuki blossom like the spring, believing in its eternity. But when she discovered that Shiryuki had abandoned him, had chosen a name, a duty, a title over the man who loved her, something inside her fractured. The pain was unbearable. A searing wound deeper than mere heartbreak. Sadness turned to anger. Betrayal turned to rage. And in the shadows of her despair, something ancient stirred at its heart, the sword of the demon hunter. Kijin Gentoushou is not just a tale of blade and blood, but of destiny intertwined with sorrow, of supernatural forces that do not simply shape the world, but distort it, twisting love into tragedy and righteousness into ruin. Suzun's transformation is more than just an act of vengeance. It is the moment where the divide between humanity and the unknown collapses. When the demon whispers to her, it is not a simple exchange of power. It is an initiation, a rewriting of fate itself. In her grief, in her fury, she does not merely grow. She becomes something new, something untethered by the constraints of childhood, of innocence, of human limitation. The demon's touch is cold, but what it awakens within her is fire. A burning need, a conviction that blinds her to everything except the justice she believes she is owed. And in that moment, the Suzun that was the sister, the child, is no more. Her first act as this new being is to kill, not a demon, not a monster, but the man who once held her heart in comfort. Love, she realizes, is a lie, a weakness that has only brought suffering. If love could be betrayed so easily, then love itself must be the enemy. And so she waits. She waits for the return of her brother, for the moment when she can give him the gift of freedom from the woman who would have forsaken him. Ginta's return is not triumphant, but desperate. He has battled demons, but none of them mattered. He sought only to return to her, to Shiryuki, to the one thing that still tethered him to warmth. And for a moment it is as if he has won. She is there. She is real. He holds her in his arms, drinking in the presence he has longed for. But fate is cruel, and the supernatural does not grant happiness so easily. In an instant she is gone, not fading, not slipping away, but violently, irrevocably taken. The warmth in his hands turns to lifeless weight, the scent of her hair replaced by the metallic tang of blood. It is only when he looks down that he realizes the truth, that what he holds is not the woman he loves, but a corpse emptied of its soul. And before him, standing in the moonlight, bathed in blood and madness, is a woman he should not recognize. But does. Suzun stands before him, the weight of Shiryuki's severed head cradled in her grasp, her smile soft, her voice light. Be happy, dear brother. She betrayed you. I avenged you. It is not the voice of a monster, nor the voice of someone pleading for understanding. It is the voice of someone who believes, who truly, wholly believes, that she has done something right, that she has saved him, and that is what makes it truly terrifying. For Ginta, there is no understanding, no rationality, no ability to piece together how or why. There is only horror, only the chasm between what he once knew and what now stands before him. And then he sees her eyes, the same eyes he had watched light up with childish wonder, the same eyes that had once followed him with adoration. But they are no longer innocent. They are something else now, something wild, something irrevocably changed. His voice barely carries her name, his body refusing to accept the truth. But when she tilts her head, confused, and asks why he is angry, why he does not see the righteousness in what she has done, he knows there is no going back. The moment his blade leaves its sheath, the night itself shatters. Their battle is not just steel against steel. It is the collision of what was and what is, of the brother who had sworn to protect and the sister who had become something he could no longer recognize. Suzun, fueled by newfound strength, fights with a fury born of conviction. But Ginta is not just any warrior. He has seen war, he has stood against the abyss, and he fights not with anger alone, but with love. And love is stronger. She is losing. She can feel it in every strike, in every breath that comes too ragged, in every moment she falters beneath his relentless assault. And for the first time since she changed, she feels something that shakes her to her core. Fear. Not of death, not of pain, but of the way he looks at her now, of the fire in his eyes, not of love, but of hatred. This was not how it was supposed to be. He was supposed to understand. He was supposed to be free. The realization breaks something within her, and as his sword bears down upon her, she does the only thing left. She runs. Runs into the darkness, into the unknown, away from the one thing she thought would always remain by her side. The weight in her hands, the severed head of the woman who had stolen his heart, remains with her, a grim reminder of what she has done, of what she believed was right. Tears spill down her cheeks, but she does not wipe them away. She does not look back, and in the empty courtyard, Ginta collapses to his knees, the rain beginning to fall, washing the blood into the earth, but it cannot cleanse what has been lost. His hands tremble, resting on the lifeless form of the woman he loved, his heart shattering beneath the weight of a grief he cannot bear. He has fought demons. He has slain monsters, but nothing, not all the horrors he has faced, not all the blood he has spilled, could have prepared him for this. He had won the battle, but he had lost his sister, and no amount of rage, no amount of vengeance, would ever bring her back. Beneath the human tragedies of the sword of the demon hunter, Kijin Gentoushou, there is something deeper, something more insidious threading through the narrative, an undercurrent of supernatural inevitability, as if the very fabric of fate conspires against its characters. In Episode 1, demons are not merely external threats to be vanquished by a blade. They are forces that shape destiny, entities that blur the line between the mystical and the mundane. This is a world where the supernatural does not just coexist with humanity. It steers it, manipulating emotions, decisions, and, ultimately, the path to destruction. Nowhere is this more evident than in Suzun's transformation. Her pain, her fury, her descent into something unrecognizable. It is not purely human. The female demon who aids her is not just a bystander but an architect of fate, a silent enabler of a grief too powerful to contain. Suzun's rapid aging, her shift from an innocent girl into a vengeful woman, is not natural. It is an acceleration of time itself, a warping of what should be, as if the universe is hastening her down a path she cannot escape. In many ways, she becomes a living embodiment of the demonic influence that pervades this story, a being who has shed her past self not through experience, but through sheer emotional devastation, twisted into something unrecognizable by the forces that lurk in the shadows. Yet, what makes the supernatural elements in Kijin Gentoushou so compelling is that they do not merely manifest as monstrous threats or shadowy manipulators. Instead, they serve as a reminder of inevitability. Ginta, for all his strength and skill as a demon hunter, is powerless in the face of the unknown. He can strike down creatures of the night, he can stand against inhuman horrors, but when faced with the sight of his lover's headless body, with the unrecognizable form of his once innocent sister, there is no enemy to defeat, no evil he can cut down. The demons he fights are tangible, but the demons that shape his fate are far more insidious. Even Shiryuki's death feels preordained, as if the moment she chose duty over love, she had unknowingly surrendered her life to something beyond her control. It is as if the supernatural does not merely punish disobedience, it punishes even the illusion of choice. Whether she had followed her heart or adhered to tradition, the outcome feels the same. The moment Suzun stepped into the demon's grasp, the moment Ginta left for battle, the pieces were already in place. There was no escaping what was coming. And that is what makes the supernatural element in Kijin Gentoushou so unnerving. It does not simply exist in the form of monsters or curses, it lingers in the very structure of fate, in the way decisions are made only to feel meaningless in the end. The demons of this world are not just creatures to be fought. They are the silent orchestrators of tragedy, ensuring that no matter how much one fights, no matter how much one loves, the cycle of suffering will always continue. The strength of Kijin Gentoushou lies in its emotional weight and powerful character struggles. It is not just a samurai tale. It is a human tragedy. The story evokes deep empathy. Shiryuki's pain, Ginta's love, Kayomesa's duty all feel real and raw. The slow buildup and heavy dialogue make every scene feel intentional and meaningful. Episode 1 of The Sword of the Demon Hunter. Kijin Gentoushou is more than just an introduction. It is a statement. It tells us immediately that this series will not rely on shallow action or predictable storytelling. Instead, it dives deep into fate, duty, and the human heart that leaves us with important questions. Will Shiryuki ever break free from her chains? How will the supernatural elements intertwine with this tragic human story? What does it truly mean to fight fate? And is it even possible? This episode sets the stage for a heart-wrenching, beautifully crafted epic, where the lines between duty, love, and destiny blur. If this is only the beginning, we are in for an extraordinary journey.